welcome back to this channel of crafting, crochet and knitting. My name is Nikki and welcome to my little yarniverse. So hello, welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're a returning viewer. If you enjoy the content on this channel then please subscribe, like this video, check out my other videos, and as always leave a comment to let me know what you are making yourself. I have currently got a vote happening on my previous video for which origami you would like me to make next. So if you haven't seen it already, then check out that other video, cast your vote in the comments section, and I'll be announcing that at some point in the not too distant future. But looking at that and letting you guys decide which project I should work on next got me thinking about all my other projects that I'm currently working on, and I decided to go running around the house, grabbing them all, bringing them downstairs to the sofa to see how many that I had, how many projects that I had on the hooks, on the needles, or any other craft. So I'm going to flip the camera view around and show you just how many project bags I've got at the moment. So as you can see, there's just a few project bags on the go at the moment. Yes, we have got the materials and the WiPs in these bags. Not each bag is an individual project, some of it is yarn for another project. So I'm just gonna switch back over to the other camera view and work my way through these and explain what they are. So yeah, just a few project bags. So I'm going to jump straight into it, very quickly talk about each one of them, how far I've got with them, things like that, and which are priorities for working on in the coming weeks. So let's start with this one over here. This is my Aldi Aran Petrol Blue knitted yoke down in the round jumper, and this one has been sat in the bag for a little while, despite the fact that I got a lot of progress done on it. So I've got the whole torso, and I've even got part of a sleeve. So why has it been sat in a bag in the corner? If you were here a couple of months ago maybe, you'll know that I tried this on and it's way too big. So I had massive problems with this pattern. It's meant to be a colourwork pattern that I thought I would just use the stitches for to try and get a general idea for my sizing before I work on my own colourwork project. And the neck is all wrong for me, the arm depth is all wrong for me. I had to hack together 3 different sizes in order to try and make something that would work. And even though some of the fundamentals are correct, aka I have the right neckline, for some reason a lot of stuff is really wrong. For the most part, this yoke is so baggy that it clumps together and you can't even see the detail work that I tried to put in there. And I've been torn with this because I've made so much progress on it, in the sense I've knit so much of it now, and I had already frogged it back a few times trying to get the neckline correct and the short rows around the neck correct, that the yarn has started to twist in a few funny ways. Most notable maybe sort of on the back there, you can see a section where it looks a bit strange where I've been adding stitches. And do I really want to go through that process again? But at the same time, I do need to at some point master a yoke down knitting pattern. And so it's frustrating, it's so frustrating. But I don't think I can wear it in its current state, so I'm torn between having done so much and also knowing that it needs to be still improved. So it's been sat on my desk completely in the way of everything, which was meant to be my motivation for working on it, but then I'm at a point where I don't know what to do. There's about 400 grams of yarn currently in this jumper. Which means that if I frog it back, I've got to somehow wind 400 grams of yarn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this out whilst I sort out the rest of the project bags, and then I will decide where to put this, whether to plug it back, what to do about it. But I do have other projects that I'm working on at the moment that are a little bit more optimistic. One such optimistic one is the corner to corner solar system crochet blanket. So this is one of Whistle and Ivy's patterns. I'll link all of these patterns in the description so you can go off and find them. But I do tweak the patterning, so there are a few squares that I've made myself, a few colour changes to the original patterns, a few alterations to the sizing and stuff. So I have currently made for the C2C blanket all the planets, some of the embellishments, so that would be the rockets, comets and asteroids, and all of the squares that I need in order to make the right size that are going to be blank. I still have some embellishments to do, so I still have some asteroids and comets and various rockety things to do, and I still have the centerpiece, which is the sun itself, to do, which is where all this yellow yarn is coming from. This is for, there's some in there for a rocket, but then there's also some in there for the sun. So there's still a fair ways to go, but it's probably one of the most advanced projects that I've got so far in how much has been done already. The only thing is that there is a mammoth task ahead of me to weave in all these ends. That's just one patch. Every time there's a colour change, there is a corresponding number of ends to weave in. So the sad thing is it's not even all in this bag, so this has just got some of the blue yarn in it. A lot of the blue yarn is still in the original packaging, sat in a pile on the side here, because there's no point trying to squeeze that many into here. But a lot of these, I won't need the whole ball of yarn to make the sun or the rocket, so a lot of these can go back on my shelf once I'm finished with them. So that one is going a lot more optimistically. There's still a ways to go. Would I say I'm over halfway? I think I would. Even though I've got the ends to weave in, I think I would say I'm over halfway on that particular blanket. So what else have we got? We have got a crochet project that I started a little whiles back and never finished, and that's because I was trying to design my own details for a base pattern. So I had like a base body shape pattern that I was using, and I was trying to design my own details so that I could make Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. And the reason why this one was problematic is because Stitch has got some dark patches on his back and some lighter blue patch down his front, and I was wondering if there was a way that I could actually join the yarn so that I would crochet the lighter patch of blue that goes from his mouth down his chin and around his torso, all in one go, rather than having to make a separate piece to sew on. But the problem with that is that I'm crocheting in the round, so I frogged it back already to the top of his head, because when you're crocheting in the round, your stitches shift slightly forward each time, and that meant that that clear crisp line coming from his mouth down his neck and into his body wasn't working. So I'm fairly sure that what I've decided to do is to just sew the front piece anyway, because I'm going to be sewing the back pieces. I may as well sew the front piece. I've also got a nose for him already and two eyes, although I don't know how well I can hold those up and how well you can see in this light. So I've got some of the facial features ready to go. I've also got some arms ready to go on that particular project. My phone is complaining about my battery, so I'm going to pause the video and I will be right back with another project. Okay, so moving on to the next project, I have got another blanket that is in the making and has been in the making for ages now, and this is my autumn leaves blanket. So right now I've got most of the patches in here, more of the yarn in there. I've still got the yarn all in one bag because I'm going to need to make details for this blanket at some point, and also the bordering. So there is some yarn in here. the yarn that's in this bag still needs to be made up into these diamond shapes, which are going to make up the base blanket. This is a pattern that I found using autumnal colours, making diamonds. These all need to be blocked, so we've still got some of these to finish. We've got them all to block, all of them to combine together, all the ends to weave in. And then around the edge where the diamond shape would be, there are some sort of half diamond motifs that will need to be made in order to square the blanket off. So I need to do those as well. And then I get to start on the detail. So this base pattern is a knitted pattern, but the detail is going to be crochet. So I'm going to take all of these beautiful colours and I'm going to make up some different autumn leaves using probably predominantly patterns from Attic 24, but also some others that I can find on the internet, just any leaf shapes at all, preferably two-toned detail, and that is going to be leaf litter on the blanket. And then there's also going to be some crochet surface stitches on some of these as well, again to provide added detail. So that, I think I need to say that one's not halfway done. There's still too much to do. There is still some of the base blanket to finish, there's still the joining, there's still the blocking, which is going to be a massive part of that particular blanket. There is still all the detailing to do, so I'm fairly confident that this is a long-term project that is going to remain a long-term project. So we've also got this bag here. Now this is a little bit of a cheaty bag really, because this isn't actually a project as yet. This has got the fabric and the thread for my sewing machine projects all combined in here. There are 3 that I have in mind. One of those is the laundry day tea. Yeah, the laundry day tea, which I'm going to do in a nice burgundy colour. One of them is a graduation hat because I just wanted a little momentum of my recent graduation. Just a silly little project to play with different shape really with the machine. And the main one is this. I have got this fabric, I have got all of these. I suppose I would like to make a project bag, and I don't mean a tote bag, I mean an actual project bag about this big, but with dividers in it and space for my balls of yarn to go in. So I am super excited for that, and that's probably the project that's furthest along, because I've actually had to start designing the pattern, thinking about how I sew it, what seams I use, how I keep everything tidy, how I can actually physically sew it together and still be able to turn it inside out in order to finish. So I've got a couple of patterns that I need to follow, and then I've got a pattern that I'm making, and so I've got all the materials, but I really haven't been able to do anything with the sewing machine for that project yet. So that's all in one bag combined. Then we have got this project here. Now this one is one for the really long-term viewers, because I don't think I've spoken about this in ages. This right here is what I have of the Eclectic jumper. Again, I'll put that in the description. I went for 2 tones instead of multicolored, but it's a beautiful pattern for learning new stitches. It is beginner friendly, and I've got a few bits for it. I've got sleeves, 2 of those, and then I've also got a front and back panel. So why haven't I spoken about this before? Well, when I was making this project for the first time, I got to the point where I had the front and back panels and I went to try it on, and it was several inches too large. I got very annoyed at it. I also realised, if I lean down here quickly, that I am quickly running out of yarn. And because of the nature of the pattern whereby I've got stripiness everywhere, frogging this back and reusing it is practically useless, because I'm going to be getting minuscule amounts of yarn back, certainly nothing that I can really combine to make a effective further few lines if I need to make this any bigger. So, sorry, longer. So that's where we're at, and that's the problem. However, I have put weight on recently, and so I'm wondering if I try this on again, whether it will actually be a better fit. And so right now the problem is I don't have much length. I'd have to go around the neckline, but I realised that with this sort of drop shoulder that it would have, that I think my sleeves I can get away with, because I do like to have my wrists free actually in a jumper. I found that is something I particularly like, a particular design pattern I enjoy. So I'm going to keep this one on hand, and I'm going to see if I can't try it on and work out what else needs doing, and just probably pray that is enough yarn to finish it with, because if not, I think I'm going to cry, and I think all of that beautiful magenta and navy is just going to have to be frothed back and turned into maybe a children's cardigan, and then a whole bunch of just scrap ends for scrap blankets, because right in its current state it's not fit for anything else. So that one could go really well, or I could be heartbroken by the end of it, but I'm excited to find out. And that is the socks. So these are knitted on double pointed needles. So I made these because I was getting bored of the C2C blanket. I mean, I say bored. I was just finding it was a really big project, and I wanted to do something different. And doing something small whilst you're doing a bigger project is not a problem. But as I predicted, I would get to the gussets and I wouldn't want to work on it anymore. Something about the gussets, there's so many extra stitches. I just get out of the mood for it, and I find I do have to sit there and actually pay attention when I'm making the gusset, and I have had no time recently. Up until today, I did do some on this one today, so this gusset is finished and this one I've started. So yes, as I predicted, I would get to the gusset and then I'd start dragging my heels. Sorry, I know that was terrible. That was such a cheap joke. However, I think we're past that now. So hopefully at some point this afternoon I'm going to finish the gusset on this one, and then it becomes easy knitting again because I just have to knit in the round. So that is my final project. That is probably the one that is furthest along. It's over halfway done, and also I think that it's also the one that realistically I'm going to finish first. So that one's definitely going to stay on my desk. And that, woo, that is everything. That is a lot of projects. So as you can see, I am struggling at the moment. Some of these are definitely going to have to be put on a shelf and come back to, because I don't have time for them. But some of them I have got new energy for. So yeah, hopefully we'll see a little bit more of some of those. Hopefully we'll see some finished ones in future videos, not too distant future, on this channel. Other than that, if you're in the UK, I hope you had a good bank holiday. If you're not in the UK, sorry about that. But I'll see you in a future video. Bye for now, everyone.